Ladies and gentlemen. I'm hoping to talk to you today to answer this question: how does gender mediate school practices? The paper in front of me looks chaotic, so hopefully what comes out of my mouth will be succinct and you'll be able to follow and hopefully enjoy. How does gender mediate school practices? I put this picture of a book cover of Barbie there just to kind of get us into the mood. We're looking at gender, and specifically, I'm going to be talking to you about stereotypes that we present to kids in our schools and in literature in particular. So I wanted to start with this quote by Connell and Pierce, and this was the first reading I did in the course that really struck me. They said, in everyday life, we take gender for granted. We instantly recognize a person as a man or woman, a girl or boy. And when reflecting on this statement while I was looking for artifacts, it became clear to me why it's so easy to think this. Everything around us has formed us to believe and understand gender as man and woman, boy and girl. I was thinking about my nieces and nephews and realized just how prevalent this is. My niece Emily, she's 5. She loves unicorns and glitter and pink and bunnies and everything girly. And you can't see me, but I just did girly in quotations. On the other hand, her brother, Keegan, he loves trucks and tractors and John Deere. He is the quintessential little boy. Again, quotations. I admit, though, I have seen some bridging. Ladies, we can now purchase John Deere apparel. And just in case you don't like those manly yellow and green colors, you can purchase your John Deere merch in pink. Hopefully that farmer reference isn't lost on my audience. Furthermore, us ladies can purchase any camel clothing the same as men, the difference being that ours is pink. So I'm not sure what animal we'd be hunting if we're wearing pink. Possibly honeybees in a plum tree. More importantly, and back to the literature, the artifact that I chose to show you is an example of what is available to students in our school library. So I saw this title right away, Lego Man in Space, and it stopped me. In that moment, I realized that I could not recall ever having seen Lego Woman. I played with Lego as a child, and we had many different Lego men, but I can't recall ever seeing or even thinking that there could be Lego women. Interestingly to me, the women in the story are wearing short skirts, high heels, they have cat eye glasses and tight buns. It's exactly what I would expect a woman scientist to look like. As for the men scientists in this picture, well, I suppose you can make any judgments you would like there. Um, I don't want this to be a conversation about feminism in particular. I could go there very quickly, and based on a lot of our readings, I've come to some revelations about feminism in our world. But getting back to gender, um, right away I classified this as a book for boys, and I thought, oh yeah, Lego for boys. So I wonder what there is for girls. But in the bin I found Lego for girls. So it looks to me like Lego is reaching out in this instance to little girls by creating this Friends series. There was a whole bunch of these books. They're published in 2013, based on a new movie that was out at the time, New Girl in Town. And I just noticed in the photographs that these girls are so perfect. Their eyes are perfect and their noses, and they look like these characters that we see so often in animated pop culture where there's like absolute perfection in their complexions and their bodies and their hair and their faces. And the story is so gender stereotyped. These 5 girls, they have a problem. I think it might be about a pet that somehow involves the new girl in town. The new girl is shy, she's quiet, she doesn't know anyone, but she saves the day. There's a fight, and everyone becomes best friends in the end. How could you think it would be any different, right? At the same time, I found this book, Search for the King. And so just in regard to what I said about their faces and the way the girls look in these illustrations, the men in this are so quintessentially men too. You know, those rugged jawlines and the masculine haircuts and the beard, and everything about this screams boy, right? That this is a boy book, whilst this one is a girl book. So I really thought, right away as little kids, we're putting this literature in their hands. We're telling them, you're a girl, so you read this. You're a boy, so you read this. Connell and Pierce go on to say that human life does not simply divide into two realms, nor does human character divide into two types. Our images of gender are often dichotomous, but the reality is not. This stopped me. The reality is not, but we've done such a good job of putting everyone into boxes that we refuse to see in between the box. And how often do we find individuals who don't fit into that box? Back to that idea of we put them into man or woman, boy or girl, and there's so many times that that's not the case. Moving on into more of the literature that we studied, in the male teacher debate, Lingard and authors said that separating girls and boys will not necessarily ensure that gender equity is achieved for either boys or girls. So they were talking in this case about having single-sex classes. And they were there was pros and cons based on the research for each of them, but I appreciated them saying this, that it could possibly, but it will not necessarily ensure that gender equity is achieved for either boys or girls. In regard to this question about how does gender mediate school practices, it occurred to me as I was reading this that by dividing boys and girls into separate classes, that we really make it clear to them the gender stereotype. Well, you're a boy, so you be in this class where we do these certain things, and you're a girl, so you go in this class and you do these certain things. Here's the books that you should read as a girl. Here's the books you should read as a boy. This theme kept coming up for me as I've been reading through all the modules. So, ladies and gentlemen, I had one more slide, and it is not working for some reason, so I want to end just with this thought. That we've established as a class, the people that I've been discussing with in our forum anyway, that gender stereotypes exist and they are prominent. My example showcases that in the way we provide literature for young children, it exemplifies those stereotypes. We're so used to there being content for boys and content for girls that I think we're often even unaware as educators, as parents, as siblings, as humans, that we are buying into that stereotype, right? The examples in the research and literature that we've studied have exemplified just how ingrained it is to live according to gender stereotypes. You know, we saw this with the story of Donalda J. Dickey and the Royal Commission of the Status of Women, that men and women's stereotypes exist. They've always existed. They've always existed, but that we're finally recognizing them and we're moving beyond those boxes where we're dividing people and we're moving past that. And, you know, I've appreciated that so much of the conversation that we've had is about moving forward and what we can do as educators to move forward and to make our young students aware of the stereotypes that exist, and then not just that they exist, but how to get rid of them. I've enjoyed that conversation so much with you. Lastly, from Colin and Pierce, and unfortunately my slides won't let me go there. They said, the key is to move from a focus on difference to a focus on relations. Gender is, above all, a matter of the social relations within which individuals and groups act. I absolutely love this, and I've written it down. It's on my desk. The key is to move from a focus on difference to a focus on relations. So good luck to you, friends, and I hope that is the case for you.